So, welcome to Star Campus. This webinar is about context. What you're doing. How can context help you translate? In this webinar, my name is Judith Klein. I work at Star LTS in Böblingen. LTS is part of the Star Group in support and training. Questions? Please write them in the chat window at the end of the webinar. Then I can answer them. In this webinar, you will see what kind of context information you have available in Transit. The viewer for layout context. First, we will see how you can display the layout of the original document in Transit and to what purpose. Illustrate the viewers with 3 example projects. Based pre-translation memory. This is about the context information lookup for the matches from the translation memory. The third project to demonstrate this function. Terminology in context, dynamic linking. You'll learn how you can find context information for the terms of your dictionary. Project again to illustrate dynamic linking. Words and phrases can have multiple meanings. Which one you need only becomes clear in context. Suppose you all have seen examples of translations that are inappropriate or even incorrect because they are used in the wrong context. It is essential to know the context or to be able to look it up. When we have the context, we can write good quality translations. Translations that are correct in terms of content, consistently, are grammatically correct, and use the appropriate style. Now we start with the integrated viewer for layout context. Text is formulated according to the purpose of the text element. It makes a difference whether the text is a title or whether it occurs in a table, for example. Editor of a translation memory system, the segment-based way of translating is very efficient. It must be appropriate for the function that the text has in the document. If context is not available, the chosen translation can be inappropriate or even incorrect. In Transit, the layout context is displayed in the integrated viewers. The segment that you translate and the text passage in the document layout are synchronized. If you create a translation project, you put the extra files, for example the PDF file or images, to the right place. Unpack a project package that contains extra files. They are copied to the right place automatically. Now I will show you how this works in Transit. Now I will start with an InDesign project. Now you see that Transit is open and the InDesign project is also defined and open. And I have already imported the German InDesign file. For InDesign, the PDF viewer is available in Transit. Before I start in Transit, let's have a quick look at the PDF document that was created from the InDesign file. So here you see what kind of text you have to translate. I go back to Transit and open the language pair. So in the language pair, the segments contain the text of this document. That is the usual way how Transit works. PDF viewer you have the possibility to display the PDF file in the additional window. And now when I scroll down in the text, you see that the view in the PDF viewer is synchronized. I can always see what kind of text element I have to translate. If the text occurs in a table, for example, or if it is a title or subtitle, in a paragraph, as a sentence, and so on. Especially, you have to translate parts of tools, as in this example, and in the original file you have also of these tools. It is very useful to have this picture information available when you translate the individual segments in the language pair. For InDesign, the synchronization not only works from the language pair to the PDF file, but also vice versa. That means if I double click here to a specific place in the document, the specific text passage, then the content is also here highlighted in the language pair, and I can check the translation correct, or I can continue my translation at this position. Then also here, especially if you have to translate words are much more illustrated by an image, it's very useful to see the image and to understand much better what the description means. So that was the first example of the layout context that is available in Transit. Example is an HTML project. Here you see the English HTML document that we want to translate in Transit. It has some formatting and it also contains some images. The document is already imported in Transit and we have reference material available. That means if I open the language pair, there are already some translated segments available. The HTML is displayed not in the PDF viewer, but in a separate window. So I open the list of additional windows that are available in Transit and select here the HTML viewer. You can see that the viewer of two parts. In the left-hand window, you see the content of the source language window of Transit, and on the right-hand side, you will see the translation. Here you see the same segments with the document content layout. The corresponding text is marked with a red frame. That's the same as it was in InDesign. Well, I will focus on the preview because for HTML you not only have the display of the source language to see the layout context, but you can see how the translation really looks in its original context. Therefore, I close the source language window here by clicking on only the target preview available. Now I will translate a couple of segments and you will see how translation is then displayed in the HTML viewer. So I translate in the viewer by moving the cursor to another segment, and then you see here the translation is displayed in the window. We'll look at a second example. In this example, I've not only deleted the text, but also formatting of the text. If you check it in the HTML viewer, the formatting is now missing. Therefore, I can go back to the segment, switch on the markup mode, highlight the corresponding text, insert the markup, and then formatting is now inserted in the translation. For segment number 7, I've got a fuzzy match available. So in this example, I modify the match, I copy it to the window, segment is translated, and then again you see is displayed in the viewer. The last example, this again to illustrate, so the target display is in checking also your translation, because this time I again deleted the markup that in this case to an image. Update the view, you see the image disappears. Therefore, I go back to the segment with F9, place, insert a markup with F11, and then you see the graphic and is available. Now, with HTML, when you have finished the translation, you can use this HTML viewer to proofread your translation. For this, I switch on again the source part of the viewer. I can then use these arrows to go to the previous or next segment, see the source and my translation synchronized, and can see if everything is correct, if the text is okay, and the layout is also the one that I want to have in the translation. So now we will look at the third example, and this time I have a Word project. For Word, I'll first show you the text, the English text that we'd like to translate. We have some formatting and we have some images here in this document. And again, we look at this example in Transit. For this Word project, I have not yet imported the Word document because I'd like to illustrate that for the Word format, you create during the import the corresponding PDF file that you can then display in the Transit integrated PDF viewer. Word document use the available for this project. And then I open the language pair, a window set that provides all the windows that I can use here for this Word project. Includes the PDF viewer. So again, if navigate document, that the corresponding text is marked in the PDF viewer, this time by a red arrow. Synchronization works paragraph-wise. Now I go back to the beginning of the document, translate a couple of segments, because my next information for you is that for Word you have a Word preview available in Transit. See that the window is called PDF Viewer Word Preview. That means I can display the translation that I've done in this window also. So let's translate a couple of segments. You see the red arrow synchronized with my segments. Okay, now if I want to check the translation in the current state, I can save the translation and then I open the context menu with right mouse click on this option, Display Preview in Transit. Creates from my target language, from my translation file, and displays this PDF file in the PDF and Word Preview window. Here you see that in this preview, the corresponding text passages are highlighted with gray background color. Here, if I scroll down a little bit and see the German sentences that translated by pre-translation, you see the German part here in the Word preview displayed also. So for Word, this preview within Transit is available. That means also for Excel and PowerPoint. We have another preview option in Transit, Display Preview in Office Application. With this option, Transit will display the translation in its current state, Word. So you see, I switch to Word and I see my translation that I've just written in Transit. So you can use this to check your translation in the layout context. So these were the possibilities that are available for a Word project. To summarize the layout context, I'll give you an overview of the file formats with synchronized view. For InDesign, Quark, FrameMaker, Word, and PowerPoint, you have the PDF viewer available. Quark and PowerPoint, the synchronization works in both directions, and for FrameMaker and Word, it works from the language pair to the PDF file. Word, you have two kinds of preview, the preview in Transit and the preview in the Office application. PowerPoint and Excel, you have the preview either in PowerPoint then or in Excel. You have the display of the source language layout and also a dynamic preview of the target language. And the synchronization works in both directions. XML project contains the necessary HTML components. You also have the HTML display and preview available. So the next topic deals with the context-based translation memory in Transit. Translation memory is a treasure of translations. When you translate, the system searches in the translation memory for a match for each segment. This is very efficient. The translations that are available in the translation memory are not always appropriate. Translation variants. context information is available, it is possible that an inappropriate or even an incorrect match is chosen. The translation memory of Transit contains the translation as entire documents. Previous document that you have translated and look up the context. For pre-translated segments, for fuzzy matches and concordance matches. Then tells you if the match is really a good match. Now I will show you how this works in Transit. This demonstration, I will go back to the Word project again. First, we will look at a pre-translated segment, here segment number 4. During pre-translation, that happens during the import from the reference material that you have chosen for your project. Now I want to check from what file was this match taken. So I open again the context menu by right mouse click and select the option Show Original Context. It's the reference file match comes from. It displays here in the window title the path and the name of the pair, and I can check document and my translation if the context is suitable for the new project, if the meaning of the translation is really the one that I need. I can close the reference file, go back to my translation, and if it is not correct, then I could correct the translation. For fuzzy matches, you have the same function available to look up the context. Here, segment number 25. So in the first line, you have again the path to the reference file and the name of the reference file, which already might give you enough information to see that this is the context that you need. If the information is not enough, you can double-click this icon, language pair, with the blue arrow, double-click it to open exactly this reference file, the paragraph where this sentence occurs, and see if the meaning is the one that you need. Then you can close again the reference file, go back to the translation, I here the match that is presented, copy the match and go on with your translation. Search function that provides matches from the translation memory or your current project. Concordance search demonstrate how you can look up the context here. So for this segment number 34, I don't find a fuzzy match, but I remember that I have translated a similar phrase before, part of the segment. Search menu, added some matches displayed in the results window. Transit provides the path information and the name of the reference file. Either this is already enough information for me. If not, I put the cursor in the match, check the context, or use again the symbol to open the reference file. Transit will display my reference again here in the editor. I can check the context. If it is okay, I close the reference file again and I can use the concordance match for translating this segment. Okay, now you know how you can look up the context information from the translation memory. The last topic is about searching in context, dynamic linking. Specialist dictionaries are an important resource for translating. Automatic background search in Transit is very efficient. You will get for the current segment the terminology your dictionary automatically displayed in the terminology window. That are available in the dictionaries are not always appropriate, or there are translation variants. Context information is available, it is possible that an inappropriate translation that the customer doesn't like. Transit makes it possible to search for example segments. Check if you have already used the terms from the dictionary in previous translations. I will show you how this dynamic linking works. I will use again the Word project. We look here at segment number 36, that the term brown rice has 4 translations in the dictionary. Already indicated as a disallowed term, so that information comes from the dictionary and provides already information that is useful because it says that we are not supposed to use brauner Reis as a translation. The possibility is there's no additional information available dictionary. 4. We start dynamic linking. That means we click this book with a yellow arrow to the language pair. That means search for example segments where brown rice has been translated with Naturreis. And we see that there is no match found. Again, now I start the same search for the translation ungeschälter Reis. I double click this icon, found, but here for the third translation Vollkornreis, see there are several segments where brown rice has been translated with Vollkornreis. So I can read the sentence, I can check the occurrence and decide is Vollkornreis then the term that I now want to use for my current translation. Maybe the sentence is already enough information to make this decision. If not, again have the possibility to open the file where this segment occurs. Either double-click this icon or open the context menu, option Open Reference File. Search function is called dynamic linking because the segments in which Transit searches for the source and target terms are always different. You search in the segments of the current project and in the segments of the reference material that is selected for this current project. Dynamic linking between the search terms and the example segments. Okay, now in this webinar, what kind of context information Transit can provide? Context via the integrated viewers, based translation memory, So the text context for the matches that you get from the memory, and the segment context for the terms. Thank you again for joining this webinar. Bye and see you next time.